So I think this is starting to become a thing now where I always forget to record my recap on Mondays. So here are a few trades from yesterday. I think I was mostly long yesterday. I was in DKNG yesterday, started some pre-market because we gapped up huge to all-time highs. Started some pre-market, was a little bit early, that's why I sold some. But once I'm open, we opened at the open and the volume was really strong. That's why I added back, sold some more. But the goal was to accumulate on the dips around this area and here around 42.30s and some more here. But I didn't have the best sales. You know, in hindsight, I should have locked them in around 43.50s. But I ended up just accumulating a lot of dips, and because I had the intention of selling into a parabolic run-up, which we did have at the end of the day, but you know me, being a greedy little bitch that I can be sometimes, I didn't sell. So didn't have the best exit, but overall I was extremely bullish because it held the trend. The stock is at all-time highs. The volume was really strong, and you know, shorts were getting bent, they were getting squeezed, and you know, so at the end of the day, I actually exited for like a nice like 43.60s sell at the end of the day. Not the best executions, but still very nice plan and very bullish on this name on day one. So that's the first trade yesterday. And then I also traded AESE. This one is also a sympathy play to DKNG. They're both in the sports betting gaming sector, right? So I was lonely in this thing. I don't think I shorted. Oh, I shorted some pre-market, but after seeing that we're not, we're kind of holding the bid, I got out of the short, and I never went back to short again. I was more long biased here. Same idea, longed here as long as about 460s, longing the dips and selling towards the pushes. Didn't have the best exits. I missed the top by 10 cents, and trim my size down here only to get stopped out, partial size. But overall I was long in this name and was really good at protecting my downside, so I was never red on the long side. And one more yesterday, ADAP, very simple textbook red to green trade. When the stock, day two, everyone expected a gap down. When it held $10 and squeezed past previous day close, we're going green on the day. That's why I longed it, sold some into this and reloaded after seeing the momentum strong, and sold into the 13s and some here around 12s. So a very nice long trade on this one. ADAP, I know a lot of people were shorting this. It's one of those stocks that's really crowded on the short side, and the stocks are easy to borrow. So when that happens, most of the time when volume comes in, we're gonna squeeze. So that's the simple textbook long trade on this one. Okay, so now it's Tuesday. Let's see a few trades. So starting with a loser on the day first, I took a loss on WWR short pre-market. You can see I shorted, starter size around $5, covered into 540s. So that's 40 cents loss on a small size. Again, pre-market, you don't want to oversize. You want to slowly scale in. Now, it's only because I stopped out on a small size that I can re-enter once we have confirmed that we cannot break above 580s and we actually drop down to 450s. So that's where I realized that $5 is not holding that well, right? So it's only after I gotten out and I didn't scale in too big of a size and got squeezed that gave me the mental capacity to go back and re-attack once the trade is confirmed. So scale back in here, scale back in around 510s, covered some just before the market opens, just because these kind of low floats, a lot of times they kind of squeeze at the open. I want to give myself room to add at $5 if we get it, but actually it just literally just like dumped right away, so didn't really get much size overall to go back, just because we dropped so much from the fives already. Shorted some and covered into the dips, and missed a lot of the downside. We went all the way back to 230s, missed a lot on the downside. But again, this stock was so weak and never really gave me any entry to re-add back to my short position. The other stock, AMRH, I know a lot of people were shorting this, but again, I never shorted this one. I was mostly long biased, low float stock, also rang up pre-market just like WWR, but the levels were really clear and the momentum and the volume was extremely bullish. So that's why I was long in this instead of shorting this. Along the here, you can see I started accumulating on the dips before the market opened, seeing that we're holding very strong about this 390s, $4 area. Should have sold some into the pre-market push, but I didn't. Trim some just in case we start, selling off just like WWR did. But added back after market open, seeing that we're holding. Volume was extremely strong. Again, low float with a catalyst, and we're testing pre-market highs. So that's why I added in and sold some, and missed a sell up here around 530s. Wasn't fast enough on the rip, so could have done better. So this is why I stopped out the rest of the long position. It was a nice low win on the long side, but could have had a lot of better sales. I will admit to the execution on the taking profit side was not that great on this trade. The entries I was really proud about, but the selling was, it could have been a lot better. Long here again, $4 held, same level as pre-market. Long here added some more, seeing the volume is starting to come in, as you can see down over here in the volume bar. Volume and VWAP, it's the only two indicators I use. I don't do anything like, RSI, MACD, and all that stuff. Those things are delayed. This, with volume and candlesticks and sometimes VWAP, is just price action. This is the fastest and most instant indicator. You can't get anything faster than this. Sold some into this, protecting my downside, but still holding a core long position, and sold into the push around 470s. Missed the top tick by 10 cents. I added back some more, thinking that we can see fives. When we didn't get that, that's why I stopped out. And I didn't really want to go back again, just because clearly this 480s and $5 area, there's a lot of selling, a lot of resistance. And that's why we couldn't reclaim, and that's why I stopped out and I left the trade alone and didn't go in short. Would have been nice to get another $1 of downside on the stock. One last trade on the short side. This didn't hit my radar until power hour, when you can see the stock went parabolic all the way basically from 240s all the way to 480s without any major pullback. So that's why I went in short the parabolic trend and didn't have the best entries. I started in, I was anticipating a pop to 480s, and we literally touched 475 and immediately rejected. And this candle, you can see this 1 minute candle got slammed back down within a matter of 5 seconds. I could not get a fill up here at 470s. So, once it drops, I'm shorting the bounce, right? Very simple, but it never bounced that high back to 460s again. So, we have to do with what we got on the entry side, just have to scale according to the risk. Shorted here, covered some into the flush, almost at $4, reshorted on this lower high, very clean lower high setup, right? So that's a confirmation that we're on the backside, and covered into the flush. I wanted more back down to 360s, but we didn't get that, and I stopped out everything here. Because with these kind of parabolic shorts, if you don't stop out, this could have just as easily went back up to 470s, 480s. And I want to save myself from that kind of headache and allow myself to re-enter if needed. It's all about protecting your downside, protecting your capital, and you don't want to, to get too exhausted before the trade is confirmed. So we'll see what we get on the stock tomorrow. Really wild day to start. Pre-market, we had tons of gappers, and whenever that happens, that means most of them are gonna fade, because again, the buying volume is gonna be very divided, and and we're just kind of in a season where everything pushes early on, like we see here on Huge, and just fail. So Huge, I started some short pre-market, again, pre-market size. If you know the news that it's gapping up from, FDA nod, it's not FDA approval, right? The title of the news is extremely misleading. They have FDA approval in the title, but the actual content, if you read the news, it's just a permission to go ahead with one of the tests. So, obviously, they have some agenda, and they have stuff to sell, essentially. I shorted some pre-market. The stock was actually extremely difficult to locate, and that's actually good for shorts. That means there's not a lot of shorts trapped, and that means we're not likely to squeeze, right? If you think about it, not a lot of people have shares to short. So that's just a tiny little piece of information that can help. I should have covered some into this flush, but I was looking for the big kind of all day move. So that's fine. When this starts to curl, that's why I covered most of my short. And then at the open, we actually got halted. So I still have partial share size short into this halt, but after the open, it just literally dumped right away and straight into another downside hold. And that's why I know, okay, this stock is really unlikely that's gonna bounce. So I went back in short, didn't have the best entry. The better entry would have been here. $11 was where I would have added. We never got to 11 and we just immediately rejected, scaled out some, but re-shorted on the bounce, covered into this. And I just wanted to see if it was really gonna reclaim VWAP and go higher. That's where, ideally where I would add. Never got there. Extremely weak. Difficult to add on weakness, and cover some, added some on this tiny bounce, some more here, and I took most of it off before the end of the day. But I'm swinging some shorts overnight because I think we have a lot of downside. So pretty decent win on this. Could have been a lot better if I had better entries, but again, it's all about managing the downside for me. I'm not someone who would swing for the fences. I'm always making sure that I have confirmation before adding. On a stock like this, I'd rather add after we confirm that we're going lower than to keep on adding on the way up. Okay. So that's the trade on this stock. The other one, another gapper on the day, SECO, yes. Really similar idea. Shorted because, we were gapping up huge. And, at the open, it was really quiet. So there's not a lot of people buying this. So I kind of thought we were going to test the 5s. But the fact that we couldn't even get above 460s, that tells me the stock is extremely weak. Again, there were just too many gappers, right? So all the people who are buying and chasing the stock, they don't have a single focus. So shorted the push here. Never got any big size because I was stuck in the huge halt. So my attention was kind of divided. I will admit to that. I actually covered over here and only re-shorted after we slammed back down and breaking pre-market lows. Shorted $4, covered some 370s and here some more 350s. I tried to re-add, but it was kind of midday and it seems like at the time we were holding this 360s area and I thought we would start curling back up and I was up okay on the day on this stock and I didn't want to give back, so I just covered. And you can see once I covered, it just missed a lot of downside, but it is what it is. You can never catch everything in trading. You can only take the meat of the move. Now this is the miss on the day for me, BA. So I was bullish on the stock, but it never pulled back to an area where I was comfortable taking a long on this. I did long here and then I did short here, but those were just tiny scalps. I thought we can retest the 363s, but we never dipped that low. And so I just kind of missed so much of the upside. Again, in the morning I was extremely distracted. I was stuck in a huge halt to the downside. I was short. Yes, not with a lot of size, but still, that's still, my capital is still tied up. I'm worried. So couldn't catch everything like you see. BA was strong all day long and we literally ripped from 156 all the way to 170 today. And we're still going after hours. So, it is what it is. We'll see what we get on BA tomorrow, but had a few scalps on this, nothing big on the short side and then on the long side as well. So ending the day green, but however, I'm very frustrated because of the amount of profit I gave back on the secondary trades on this is just disgusting and it's really unacceptable. I was up a lot on this stock and a couple other stocks, but I gave back so much, over half of the profits from, really bad entries. As you can see, just let me talk about GNUS. So this is a stock that's been going parabolic on the daily. And I had some scalp long trades on the front side. These are long trades over here. And this is where I started shorting. And the short was fine. The entry was good. And I covered into it. And this is where I started to decide to get cute and actually flipped long on GNUS. But the only silver lining is that when I'm scalping long on this kind of trash stock, it's really small size, but I actually got stuck on unhold. So even after I unholded and sold with a small size, it still, it still adds up to a loss that actually trimmed a lot of my profit. And, finally, I decided, the big picture is the short, which is what made me money on the short from this point, from 1040s. So I wanted to go back short. And so I started scaling in. The thing is, I didn't expect it to bounce this much, right? Even if I started scaling around here, started scaling around 630. In hindsight, I didn't know at the time, it was too early. So I scaled some, and at this point, I didn't add because I was thinking, okay, if this starts holding red to green, I'm gonna have to cover for a loss. But we actually slammed down, rejected the psychological red to green area, and that's why I started adding, covered into the dips, and added some more and covered most of it here. So the secondary trades on the short side, I did make money, but the entry and then the long I tried to do with like a small size, it just gave back so much profit, and at this point I was tired. I should have just done the first trade on the short side and long side and left it alone, or waited for a huge bounce like this to re-enter the short. But not so great executions on my part, minimized a lot of profits and gave back a lot of the gains. But I'm still happy to be green. I still have some short. I re-shorted here, covered most of it, but I had a small swing overnight. Just small size, nothing big, but not so happy about my executions because I gave back so much. So that's the lesson from this. All the other stocks I traded, I did a lot better. So I'm happy about that. I didn't like emotional trade or anything. It just this one ticker that I did poorly on. So the second trade, I did much better and cleaner execution on this CIDM. This is actually a sympathy play to GNUS. I started a small short, but seeing how strong the momentum is, I covered right away. You can see I shorted right out of the gate, 440, covered right away at 380s, and the stock literally just shot up, going parabolic from $4 to $6. I was not involved in this crazy candle, but I did try to, seeing that if we're gonna get a follow through, so I loaned some, seeing that we're kind of heavy on tape, so I sold it all and actually flipped short. You could say I should have shorted here, but I didn't want to hop on the front side. I wanted it to confirm that we are gonna stay below VWAP and stay weak. And at the time, GNUS was also selling off, so that was double confirmation for me to scale in on the short on the backside. Shorted here, shorted some more on this breakdown. I was trying to be patient, trying to let it ride. So I was holding all of the size here and actually added and then covered into here. So I still have some piece on, half of the short left. I re-added, and once it starts, seems like we're gonna reclaim and try to push, I trimmed my position. Once we start holding this line, you can see this support area around 330s, cover some more. Once we start to reject, I try to rehit it short again. Now I'm holding some smaller size overnight, and we're looking pretty decent and have a pretty nice average around 370, 380s. So I'm thinking this is gonna gap down. If you look at it, daily charts, we went from $1 to $6. So even after this week close, we're still up over 100% on the day on the stock. So we'll see what this brings tomorrow. So the other stock I played is a large cap stock. I didn't think it was gonna go all the way back to 188. If I knew, I would be a billionaire by now. But BA, they had some really positive news with Amazon purchasing more of their fleet, and market was rallying. So a lot of times we see these large cap gappers, they sold off right at the open, but it literally dipped to pre-market level. So that's where I started going back in long. 177 added over here 179. So that gave me a pretty nice average, about 178.50s, sold into the push and was out all of it at 181. Because at the time I was trying to focus on CIDM and GNUS, so I was all out. I wish I could have held, but hindsight is 2020. Nobody knew it was going to 188, and I tried to go long again, but at the time market was rolling over, so I stopped out right away. So pretty decent gain on BA. Green day overall, but the amount of money I gave back on GNUS, just disgusting. And I'm actually pretty upset with that trade. both the long and the short. Could have done a lot better on the executions. So that's something for me to work on. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully everyone had a good trading week. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.